Hi everyone, it's Tanya, One Christian Chick. Today I want to give you another basic technique that you can use when you're Bible journaling. This one's really fun. I just discovered this one, and it's embossing. And we're going to heat emboss. So let me show you the tools that you're going to need first. First, you're going to need your cardstock choice. And I'm just using plain old white cardstock, okay? Then the next thing that I chose to use is a standard acrylic paint from the craft store. However, you can use anything that you like. You can use gelatos, you can use markers, you can use crayons, whatever you want to use to prep your surface, okay? Then the next thing that you're going to need is this fabulous little stamp pad. It's called Versamark, and it is a watermark stamp pad. Now you need to watch for that. It actually says it right on the label, watermark stamp pad. I got mine at Blitsy online, way cheap, or grab one at Hobby Lobby with your 40% off coupon. The next thing that you're going to need in your stash is going to be some embossing powder. This stuff comes in tons of colors. I wanted to try one that was going to have a lot of shimmer to it and that didn't have a lot of color to it. So mine is just a holographic. And you're going to see what that is when we apply it, okay? So we've started out with our cardstock. We have our acrylic paint or whatever you're going to prep your surface with. We have our Versamark watermark stamp pad, okay? We have our embossing powder. And then I feel like a queen with my power tool here. We're going to use a heat tool. Now, this heat tool, again, got it on Blitsy way cheap. Or you can use it at use your coupon at Hobby Lobby and get it. They run about $12 or so. It's great for drying paint, I have discovered, but also really key in doing our embossing. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to, don't forget, you need a rubber stamp also of your choice. This one's just a dove. It's one of my favorites, but you need a rubber stamp of your choice. Okay, so if you have all of your supplies gathered, here's how we want to begin. Now I've just taken my piece of cardstock, and I'm going to move you just a second so you can see my hands and see my workspace. So here's my piece of cardstock. Okay, move our heat gun out of the way here. And I took my acrylic paint and prepared my piece of cardstock. I just painted it down. And so this is all that's on it right now is some acrylic paint. Then what I want to do is make sure it's dry. Now, we're going to hit it just briefly with this heat tool. Forgive me because it's going to be noisy for just a second. We just turn it on like a hairdryer, and we run it over the surface to make sure the paint is dry. And mine is, because I had mine drying before you came in today. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my Versamark watermark pad and my dove stamp, and I'm just going to prep that stamp. Just press it down on that watermark stamp pad. Okay, then the next thing we're going to do is put the stamp onto our prepared surface and make a stamp imprint. Okay, and what you're going to see is kind of, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but it's kind of a clear outline. Let me get in the light so you can see it. See that clear outline of our dove? Okay. So that's where we're going to begin then in making this stand up, becoming embossed and shimmering. So now I'm going to break out my embossing powder. Now this stuff is super fine. I use a small spoon. I'm in the South. I use a sweet teaspoon because you know that is the house wine of the South. And we're just going to take a little bit of that embossing powder and sprinkle it over the surface of the stamp. Sprinkle it over the surface of where that stamp was remaining on my cardstock. So now I have this covered in embossing powder. Now I'm just going to kind of shake it a little bit and sprinkle my leftover embossing powder back in to my jar. Great way to do this would be to use some parchment paper or some wax paper, something like that, so that you can just pick it up and drop it right back in there. Okay, let me put the lid on this before we bust out our heat tool and end up with glitter everywhere. You know how it ends up everywhere. Okay, So now I have shook it off, and this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and run my heat tool over the surface. It kind of blows off all the extra glitter. Blow it over this image, and it's going to help this image raise. That looks pretty good. Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. And now what I have is this beautiful, one more spot I didn't get very well, and I can tell it because it wasn't raised. There we go. Now it's raised. And what we have is this beautiful dove with a raised surface. You see the glitter that's shimmering. That's from that embossing powder that's holographic. And then this little beauty would be a wonderful addition to a tip-in for your Bible. Remember, we talked about the tip-in. It's something as simple as just going ahead and using washi tape to put it in your Bible. Would also be great for a greeting card or for a wall hanging or anything that you want to use, a bookmark. So we have successfully done embossing today. I'll see you next time to teach you another Bible journaling basic. Say that 3 times really quick. See you next time. Bye-bye.